Up there it is, counting down.
Okay. We're going to begin the engine portion of the pre-trip for the Oregon CDL. And as we're looking at this, the first thing that I see is my power core is over here on the left. And I'm looking for all hoses to not be cut, leaking. They can't be kinked. There can't be any signs of wearing or rubbing on something else. They need to have their clamps in place, like this does here and this, so that's secure. It's not in danger of falling off. The next thing I'm going to do is check the hoses that are underneath that. I see a little seepage here. Seepage is okay, but leaking, like dripping, is not okay. I'm going to check those hoses, make sure they are secure. All of those hoses are secure. The wire cannot be frayed, wearing on something, can't be having any signs of burning, has to be secure. So all of that looks secure, no signs of leaking in all of that, any of that. The fan blade is not cracked or broken and does turn freely. Not seeing any signs of water or leaks around it. Gonna then move on to my alternator, which is right here. The alternator needs to be secure with all the screws in place and the wires coming to the right place and not loose. So it is secure. I'm then going to come to the belt that's underneath that. The belt needs to be secure. It can't be cracked, frayed, wearing, or in danger of coming off its little runner for the pulley. And it is secure. Same with this one down here. It is secure. As I press them, I should not be able to press down or have any more depression than 1/3 of an inch. And I'm looking at that, and that's secure. I'm coming down, well, no, I'll go back up for a second since we're moving from left to right. The next thing that I'm coming to see is my coolant. My coolant tank is secure. The wires and hoses are secure in their places. And over here is the little viewfinder. I can see that there is a little fluid in there. That means it's ready to go. The cap is on secure.
Okay.
All right, so we've moved now to the power steering container, and as we come into the bus in the morning, it's probably going to be setting here on minimal cold, and then as we warm it up, it'll start climbing up towards the maximum. It has to be between maximum and minimum to be passing. The tank needs to be secure. It does have a little lid on top that you can open up and look to make sure, wipe it off, stick it back in all the way, and take a look at where it is. It looks like it's a little low on the stick, but that's okay. It's at minimal right there, so we'll check that later in the day. We're checking now to make sure the clamps are in place for the hoses are secure, not cracked, leaking, worn. Making sure that our oil is here. If we wipe off the stick, then we can see that it has an add and full line. We're going to go ahead and stick it back in. Wait for a couple of seconds, pull it back out, and get a good read of where it is. And it should be above add and to the full line. Sometimes our mechanics will fill them up just a little bit more than that. Don't worry about that. Just let the mechanic know what's going on with your bus. All right, this is the fill line for the oil. We don't have to worry about that. Next thing we do is check the transmission. With the transmission, we're going to smell, and it shouldn't smell like rotten eggs. We're looking inside the fluid to make sure that there's no signs of metal in there. Any metal flakes would be a bad sign, something happening to the engine. We're going to go ahead and wipe it off again, stick it back inside. Wait a couple of seconds and pull it back out. And once again, it should be between hot and cold. And there's plenty on the stick, so we don't have to worry about it. The frame here should be mounted securely. No signs of cracks, breaks, rusting. All the nuts and bolts should be in place, and they are. We're going to move then. Oh, did we not get this side with
I don't think we got the pulleys.
Okay, so we're looking down at the bottom of the pulleys of where the water pump is, and I'm kind of pointing at it now. It's that one right there at the area. If we're seeing any water at that point at all, that means that our water pump has blown. And then we'd also look on the ground for any signs of fluid leaking there. Coming now, we're going to look at the governor.
There it goes.
Okay, so we're at the governor now, and the governor is the brain for the air compressor. We want to make sure it's secure. These little hoses that go into place need to be secure in their ends. We'll listen for a second. We're listening for any kinds of leaks. We don't want any leaks in the air governor, and we don't want any leaks in the air compressor. Go ahead and get that off for a second.
How do you turn it off? Oh, pause.
Yep.